Good morning, everyone. Mike Martin's here with the Mike Martin's channel. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing and all that jazz. Well, here it is. The spiral of uncontrollability in the housing financial sector. Everything is starting to spiral out of control. Now, we haven't raised rates in ages, and we created this Frankenstein monster. Made a video about that, I think 2 years ago, where basically they've created this monster. Now they don't know how to fix it. And the only tool left in their economic toolbox, so to say, is raising rates. And raising rates will start to correct the issues we've been in for years. But because of countries, English-speaking countries, so to say, we're so heavily dependent on disenfranchising their own middle class and selling to the highest bidder overseas and leaving properties empty all over the country has led to a disaster. Lower rates get the working middle class that's left in the country into the housing market. And they did that. They did interest-only mortgages. They did all kinds of first-time home buyer loans, which you have to pay back in Canada, not like the States, where if you live in the home X amount of time, you don't pay back the grant. But in Canada, you pay that back with the VIG. Anyways, so what is going on? So interest rates going up again. Bank of Canada hikes benchmark interest rate again to 3.25%. So there it is. It's a little increment movement, but it's moving. The Bank of Canada hiked its trend-setting interest rate by 0.75 percentage point on Wednesday, the last time the central bank in its mission to rein in runaway inflation. So they're not going to rein in runaway inflation at those increments. After slashing its rate to near zero in 2020, again, to help stimulate the economy in the early days of the you-know-what, Canada's central bank has moved aggressively to raise lending rates to try and cool red-hot inflation, in which has risen to the highest level in decades. Now, this was happening before 2020. Woo! This was happening way before 2020. They're always going to blame. And then if it's not that, it's Donald Trump. And if it's not that, it's the war in Russia. And if it's not that, somebody farted wrong or crooked, or somebody's fart didn't come out right. They're going to keep finding things to blame. Kick the can, not down the road, kick the can to the next neighborhood, because that's what they've been doing all these years. So let's take a look at let's take a look. So here it is. Yeah. There it is. Bank of Canada hike interest rates to 3.25 points. So there's the inflation right there. And there are our interest rates right there, nowhere near where it needs to be, and nowhere near. So where are we at here? So let's take a look. I made a video back in November 3rd, 2018. Interest rates are headed to 9% by 2022. Must watch or inflation will creep up. November 3rd, 2018. Interest rates are headed to 9% by 2022. There's 2022. There's the interest rates right there. I wasn't making this stuff up all these years, trying to get people to understand how dire this situation is. And the reason why I've been calling out on this for so many years is because it's affecting the middle class. It's affecting the people that built the infrastructure. Now, guess how they're going to come for you? Well, I got 260 grand equity in my home, Mike. What are you talking about? They're going to tax you to death. Your property taxes are going to go up even further. And they're going to fine you. That's what's going to happen. So that's what's happening right now. Now we're going to start to see a massive oversupply on the markets where people are going to be running to sell their properties because they can't afford to keep them anymore. We're talking people going back 2, 3, and even 4 years. People that bought 5, 6 years ago that are going to be selling their properties in a frantic pace. Why? Well, because they've been eating off of the equity on their homes, using their homes as ATM machines. And that's something we've been talking about on here for 10 years now. So let's take a look right there. Interest rates headed to 9% by 2022. Okay, so Bank of Canada increases policy interest rates by 75 basis points, continues quantitative tightening. Okay, they should have did this a while back. Bank of Canada hike. Okay, we know this. But most don't know this. So let's take a look here if you're living in Canada. Canada raises it. So this is back on our channel on our time machine. Canada raises interest rates and Canadians took out $2 billion and HELOC debt over 28 days on their second mortgage or reverse mortgage or whatever you want to call it. So they're taking out money when they raise rates. Shocking rate revelation what interest rates need to be to help curb inflation 3 months ago. That was basically me breaking it down by every country in the Commonwealth to figure out what it needs to be. Look at this one from 4 years ago. If rates go up, kaboom! $42 billion in interest to service their mortgages in Canada. That's an old, this is old. This is almost 5 years ago. Canadians in trouble as central banks aggressively moving up lending rates to fight inflation. Property tax invasion, inflation crisis versus rate crisis, trends in the housing. Okay, that's not new. That's too new. Let's find older stuff here so we could prove to you this was happening before 2020. Right here, we must raise interest rates to curb inflation. Economy headed for dramatic collapse. Prepare now. 4 years ago. If we don't raise interest rates, the middle-class families will forever be lost in crazy inflation. 4 years ago. They're going to slash rates, and then they slashed rates after they raised interest rates by a quarter or 0.5% back in 2017. When rates go up, it's game over. Australia, UK, interest only mortgages. Right there. Big trouble in Little Aussie, interest rate only loans. They're going to have to raise rates to curb inflation 4 years ago. So there it is. They're going to have to raise rates. I don't know how much harder. Or food prices out of control. Inflation kicking in hard. Australia interest rates going up 3 years ago. Australia raises interest rates. Housing crisis 4 years ago. So they're talking about negative rates over time. And longing out or prolonging the problem. Interest rates headed to 9%. That's the video I showed you guys by 2022. And I don't know. I just wanted to put this out there of previous videos that we had because we've been having this problem before 2020 and they're going to blame 2020. So let's type in food. Food. So 2 months ago, let me see if I could find something that goes back further so that you can see, yeah. That's I hate Filipino food, but I love it. It's just a stupid story that someone came in and told me. Anyways, Cuba rationing food now. Chinese government urges family now. What happened to all my... Canada say it's getting harder to feed their families, for their family to afford food. Inflation in food prices hidden 3 years ago. What happened to all my food videos I made over the years? They're all, gone. Food getting expensive due to hidden inflation. How much did I buy for $79 a year ago? Where's all my food videos? Food costing more than my rent. Food set to skyrocket by 2021. 830% middle class can afford basic food. Food shortages ahead 5 years ago. Food prices increase in 2017 to 2021. 830%. Where is my... I can't... Oh yeah, food has surpassed my rent 6 years ago. I mean, I got a lot of videos on here, but... Look, food is costing more than my rent 5 years ago. So food prices out of control. At this rate, people can't afford to buy food by 2020. So here, middle class can't afford food. Food bank noticed increase of working poor and transportation issue 2 years ago before the you-know-what. So a lot of these problems were happening before the you-know-what, but they're going to blame the you-know-what. And then they're going to blame the economy on climate change. They're going to blame the economy on climate change. Yeah. The whole 2020 thing, fiasco, fizzled out. The war in Ukraine's fizzling out. None of it's making any sense on the ground. People are starting to wake up to that. All kinds of things are fizzling out. What left? Climate change or war with Taiwan? There's no other... Or climate disaster or something they're gonna blame for the economy. But the people in power that were in power in 2019 when the world was in protest in 2019, they're still in power today, except I think Scott Morrison's out because he turned against China, and Boris Karloff is out. Boris Johnson's out too. But very interesting the way things are going to be connected going forward. Rates need to go up. Interest rates need to go up. Are you safe? Well, it depends how much you put down, and it depends if you bought your house to raise a family and not make money off of it. I bought my house to raise my family. I didn't buy my house to, but they're getting me with the property tax now. You see? Now they're getting me with the property tax. And that's becoming a problem here for us. It will get to a point where we'll have to leave because property tax, when it gets to 6, 7, 8,000 a year in a town with 2 stoplights, some people say 3, but I believe there's 2. 3 technically if you're way out of the town. Don't know, but it's a mystery to most here. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I look forward to reading what you guys have to say about this. Interest rates need to keep going. Oh, it's just a little increment, a little increment. In 2017, when they raised rates slightly, people were freaking out already that they couldn't afford their mortgage payments. So little increment on a little increment on another little increment leads to a big problem for a lot of people. I hope a lot of people did the right thing. I hope a lot of people saw through the BS. And I hope a lot of people understood what was going on around them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.